Welcome back, everybody, to the newest episode of the PenPodcast.com. I'm your host, Matthew Harms, founder of Pen for Hire, where we offer premier ghostwriting and author coaching services. Also, the creators of the Pen Podcast, where we sit with authors, writers, writing industry professionals, subject matter experts, and all around interesting people. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by a client, a friend, and an all around amazing person, Dr. Teri Baydar. How are you today, Dr. Teri?
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Great to be here. Love to talk about the journey.
Absolutely. As I mentioned on the call-in, Dr. Teri and I do work together. Her most recent work, we did not work together on. So I am going to be kind of on the ground level with our listeners, which is always interesting because sometimes it's challenging to completely step back from what you've worked on, right? And pretend you don't know.
Well, now you don't know. So
now I don't know. So let's start here. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your background, how you got into writing.
I'm a leadership development coach and personal development expert. And so for me, it's always been about the journey of, elevating humans individually and in groups to a higher level. Professionally, personally, with their relationships. And I have a doctorate in divinity in metaphysics. I have an MBA. I'm also a business coach, analyst. I work a lot with social entrepreneurs because I work with people who want to do something with purpose, with a sense of for the greater good. And I also work with learning and development professionals, HR. So I get a lot of HR clients, executives, senior VPs, CHROs of larger organizations. And then the CEOs, CTOs, and CFOs that I work with are generally in smaller organizations, startup, little MIT, Harvard nerds, that kind of stuff.
Interesting. So I would imagine as part of what you do, thought leadership is kind of important.
It's very important because I'm actually I'm very avant-garde. If you don't want to be avant-garde, you need to find a more old school kind of coach because we're going to talk about the future. We're going to talk about what's coming next and how you can be a part of it. And what you need to do to scale yourself, to scale your company, how you need to innovate yourself, to innovate the products that will take you to the next level in the future, the now and the moving forward.
I'm trying to think of the right word here, so I'm not lumping everyone together, but how receptive are most of your clients to actually thinking about the future? Or do you find a lot of people saying, you know what, Dr. Teri, I don't think we're going to work out because I don't want to think that far ahead?
That's true. And that's one of the things that I do straight up is this is how it's going to go. And it's going to be an internal journey. We're going to talk about your thoughts and your feelings. We're going to talk about your internal, mental, emotional landscape, what's keeping you stuck. So this is behavioral modification that you get to choose. How do you want to redesign yourself, your company, and how do you want to be a part of the bigger things that are coming? And so, yeah, there is some people who don't want to, and that's fine. That just means they're not ready yet. They're not ready to grow that much. And you need to have the desire if you're going to step into this journey.
Do you feel like anyone or any organization is exempt from this growth?
No. The ones that are going to do well are going to step into it. The people who will be ultimately happy and successful will step into this kind of personal development leadership journey. If they don't, they become obsolete. And it's just the way of the world. There's no, if I stop learning tech continues to move forward, I will become obsolete. If I didn't learn to use Zoom, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
It's so funny you mentioned that because especially in what you do, I'm curious your viewpoint on those who continue to fight change and feel like they can actually make society as a whole pump the brakes, right? Like the new thing with AI. AI is bad. AI is not your friend. When in reality, it's a tool, right? Kind of every Zoom is a tool.
Absolutely. And, if you want to go to AI, it's not that AI is bad. It's that it's not at this point in time well made. And I would argue that maybe it doesn't need to be used for certain places, including like the court of law. I don't think any AI should be writing laws. I don't think that it should be also choosing people for jobs, like it's because right now all AI is nothing but an automated collating. It has no intelligence. Now it might later. Right now it doesn't. It has to learn, and we need to give it the opportunity to learn appropriately.
It's so funny you mentioned court of law, because one of my clients told me a story recently about a recent court case where an attorney actually used ChatGPT to write their closing arguments, and the judge knew it right away.
Yes. And I read an article where someone was on the verge of getting disbarred in New York State and like 3 people had signed off on it, but somebody at a lower level used AI to, talk about so-called court precedent. And the judge was like, wait a minute, where's this precedent coming from? Because I've never heard of this. And basically AI had gone and scoped the entire internet and had come up with fictitious things, John Grisham kind of stuff that is fictional. And so AI couldn't tell the difference between fictional cases in novels and real cases in the real world. I mean, Houston, we have a problem.
I try to use this example with everyone, so I won't beat a dead horse, but it's like a car. A car is a tool. Car's been around for well over 100 years. It still doesn't have the ability to drive itself, at least not reliably on a large scale.
Right. And it's interesting because this plays back to my book. This plays back to what I'm trying to do with my life. My whole life work is teaching people how to think, how to understand their mental, emotional landscape. If we as humans don't do that, we can't teach AI to do it. So we have to work with our own technology, which is our mind and our heart, and figure out how this works best. And so we've got work to do, because this is where people I think get upset about the AI, is because it's going in the other direction. It's taking us into lazy zone.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I think you hit the nail on the head when I was trying to figure out, like, there's certain people I just get along with well. Clearly you're one of them. And I think it's that mentality of, I don't care if we argue for 18 hours about something, as long as we're both thinking, right? I can't stand I'm just accepting it because ChatGPT said it. Because you know what? If I ask for it to give me 10 things to write about, 5 of them are going to be amazing thoughts. 3 of them are going to be, okay. And 2 are dead wrong. Like you said, it pulled it from a wrong source. But the moment we resort and devolve to name calling, like, I read a lot of political stuff, I read a lot of healthcare stuff, and I've been called a communist, a socialist, and I'm like, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. The point is not what my views are. The point is, are you thinking about the issues that I brought up?
Yes. Are you thinking in terms, either way? Right. Are you thinking in terms holistically? Are you thinking about unintended consequences? Are you thinking about whether or not this is good for your grandkids? Are you thinking about what it means to live a certain way? And I have a lot of clients where we talk about being a karmic millionaire or being a karmic billionaire. I have a couple that I consider to be karmic billionaires, meaning they earn what they need to live. But rather than working with a venture capitalist to cash out, they continue to build value everywhere, all over the planet. So these are large scale social enterprises that are looking at new business models and looking at how we form communities and not being a centralized extraction economic model where it's all about profit. I mean, I could just like kick Friedman in the butt and out the window, because no, we do have responsibility. Humans are living creatures. We have responsibilities. As you know, I don't know if anybody out there is listening to but like Milton Friedman. No, we do have responsibilities.
Yeah, you know what, you said unintended consequences, and it made me think of two things. And then we're going to get into your books. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a lot of what you talk about. But the first is an old computer programming term: garbage in, garbage out. Right. So if you're not thinking and you're just constantly throwing more garbage into AI and like, search this for me, you're not going to get anything substantial. And then the other, I recently listened to a book, When We Cease to Understand the World.
Yes. Oh, nice.
The fact that they found the most deepest, beautiful blue pigment in history and didn't realize at the time that it was cyanide or chlorine gas. So yeah, that book just blew my mind of how everyone only saw the aesthetically beautiful, like we have access to this color we never had before, yet at the same time it created something that could kill people on a mass level.
Right. And yeah,
as humans, we kind of do that regularly, right?
Yes, and that is what I call a lack of thinking holistically. This is the problem with us, which is why I wrote the book, where we have two basic forms of consciousness or awareness. People get all mixed up with the idea of consciousness. So consciousness is just awareness. You are conscious, Matt. I am conscious. We're having a conversation and we are aware at different levels. But we have two basic kinds of consciousness. One is when we're in a reductionist mindset and we're thinking from the small, petty self. What do I get out of this? How can I use this? We're also in a divided, how do I win? This extraction mindset, right, wrong, good, bad, all that judgy stuff. All of that is coming from what I call war consciousness, which is kind of a left brain dominant way of thinking and perceiving the world and acting upon those perceptions. Now, the other end, the opposite end, is what I call love consciousness. And that is where we are understanding, we step back, we try to comprehend all of the different parts of what's happening. Well, what's the bigger picture? How does this affect people? What is the best thing to do here? And so you have this multifaceted way of looking at something that's way more holistic, and you investigate. It's actual real science. A lot of the problem we have with science today is that it's not scientific enough. We're not looking enough deeply into what are the different myriad of consequences of any given action and reaction. So but love consciousness is the way actually the ecosystem works and the natural economic laws that regulate life about what we can or cannot do and have without in harmony with life. And that is love consciousness. That's actually like almost it's a universal law. Think of it as like the grand currents of the ocean that take things from Alaska to Florida and then over to the Canary Islands.
Yep.
It's like that's the flow of love consciousness. Like it's there, and you're not going to change it. You're not going to divert it. It is a current of life that sustains us. And if we understand it better and we put our minds in the right mindset to connect with it, guess what? You're more successful. Your relationships are better. And it's like you get this synchronicity effect where cool stuff just happens. It comes to you. You get the support you need. You get the answers you need to make your next step. And so,
continue.
Go ahead.
No, continue.
Well, I mean, that's why I love working with social entrepreneurs, also with learning and development professionals, because these are people who are trying to make change. They're trying to change the way we live and work, and they're trying to create new products to actually solve problems, not just make profit. Profit is a given. That's called business. We don't have to get all upset about, it's not like it's going to be a charity. It's business. Profit is included. It's understood. It's a byproduct of doing something that solves some problem for someone or helps someone really. So anyway, so getting successful is it's really important to understand this concept of love consciousness.
So as you were explaining love consciousness and this how do I win mentality, which is the war consciousness, I was about to say before when I interrupted you, I feel like either I'm reading the right books or we're on the same wavelength, because I'm listening to the Motivation Myth right now. And he talks very much about how business and life is not a zero-sum game. It's not a if you win, I lose. We can all win.
Yes. And it's like, there's in business, they have like synergy, right? Well, what is synergy? It's, the result is greater than the sum of the parts, where 1 + 1 = 3. And that's how love consciousness works.
I love it. So, Dr. Teri, what's the name of the new book? And give us a little bit about it. I'm sure we're going to continue on this conversation, but let's start there. Flip Your Switch. I love it.
Flip Your Switch, A User's Guide to a Whole New Mind. So this is basically all of the basic principles of what you need to do to follow in this path of switching from the war conscious mindset that's holding you back and keeping you stuck, unhappy, and unsuccessful, to the love conscious mentality, understanding of the greater pictures of, understanding the way certain aspects of the world work in love consciousness and how they help you. And so this is the journey. Now, there are different parts of it. It's not a lot of story. There is some story, but it is actually a guide. Most of the chapters are only 2 pages long. I worked 10 years on this to, really boiling down the principles that are the most effective, and certain things and it's about lots of little chapters, 3 parts. The first part is knowledge. The second part is know-how. And the third part is knowing. That's the progression of the experience. Now, the first part is the basics of mind. The second part is how to shift. And the third part is understanding your higher self, or the daemon, because that's where we learn to connect with that better version of ourselves. And that's just being in a state of knowing and understanding things from a higher level. We get very worked up in that left brain duality and the if-then formulas and the social constructs of this is how you're supposed to do something, even though it's not in your best interest. And we have to stop. We're the problem. We have the technology to be successful as individuals, groups, nations, and a planet, and corporations, and small businesses. We have everything we need. The problem is not enough technology. We're just not using it well because we haven't learned to use our own mind-heart technology well. We don't understand how it's made. We don't understand how it works. Nobody taught us. So this is the guide. This is how it works. This is the inner journey. And of course, I have little anecdotes of special or big wins that my clients go through.
Now, just for my own personal peace of mind, sometimes I overanalyze things. But the book title, the subtitle, is that a play on when you say the user's guide is like saying, learn how to use your mind?
Yes.
The user's
Yeah.
guide to what's in your head that you take for granted every day?
Yes. So a user's guide to a whole new mind is really, it's literally a guide, a step-by-step guide. And what we want is not the old mind, right? We want a new mind, an elevated mind, because no problem was ever solved at the level of consciousness that it was created. So we want, this is an upgrade, and it's more whole, understanding thoughts, emotions, certain things about your body, your energy, those kinds of things a little bit, but mostly it's really a thought process that allows you to shift.
So I have to say, you said something that I feel like now I can't believe I've never even thought of this being a problem with the problem with the advancement of our technology. We have far more resources and tools than our forefathers ever did. Yet, despite all of the technology, our ability to somewhat predict the weather, we're still not like adequately doing crop rotation and things to preserve the land, like the famine, all of the different things that come up that you would think a species at our level should be a little more adept at using our technological breakthroughs. Instead, we're watching cat videos.
Right. We're looking at the disaster of the world with derision. Like that's how we're meeting it, with derision. And, watching cat videos, which are cute. I like them too. But the problem is actually being in that war conscious state. You see, if you're in a holistic mind, you're going to think, okay, this particular kind of agriculture is killing the land. We have less and less plantable land every year. And we have migrations of people who have no place to live because there's nothing to eat there. All of these things are happening, and it is born of the war consciousness mindset. It is born from economic extraction business model that prioritizes profit for the few at the top and is all about extracting from everything below it, be it the workforce, the planet, the waterways, anything that's in the commons that's for free that we can exploit. It's a business model that is born from war consciousness, because actual business and trade adds value. Again, it's 1 + 1 = 3 when you're doing it in love consciousness. So that is regenerative. We've got to shift our mindset from war consciousness to love consciousness, where we're understanding the greater picture so we can have regenerative farming. We can have regenerative waste management. We can have, everything should be regenerative. I mean, if you love your grandkids, you should be investing in and working with all sorts of companies and technologies that are all about regeneration of the planetary commons, the water, the air, the land, all of the things that we need. Now, this is not some kind of socialism or communism. This is actual just logic.
Common sense, not communism.
It's not even common sense because it's not very common to think this way.
Fair.
It's actually just logic. It's just logic. It's a holistic logic rather than a petty self logic. What can I get out of this situation? And I don't care about anybody else or the future.
Right. I am so lazy and I am so spoiled that I will continue to use plastics that cannot be recycled. And we won't even go down that rabbit hole because you and I on another time will have a conversation about what I've recently found out about recycling to my much disdain.
Right. So we should have regenerative, and companies should also, really be thinking about end-to-end product. Already in Europe, they have appliances that they snap together or screw together and then are snapped apart and screwed apart. So the appliance, the toaster or the laundry machine or whatever it is, goes back to the manufacturer and is snapped apart, and the plastic goes into whatever needs to be made for the next model is base plastic, and the metal goes over there. So they recollect all of the scrap metal and plastic and copper wiring and whatever else is in there, and they use it as base material for the next thing. Nespresso, I have a Nespresso machine. All of my aluminum pods, they go back, the coffee inside the pods goes off to composting for farms and stuff. And I think they use it in tennis shoes and some other things. And then the aluminum pods, they go back to Nespresso to make more aluminum pods. They recover all of the aluminum to make new pods. Hello? I mean, that's logical.
Who would have thunk?
That's just logical. Instead of dumping and then having to buy new aluminum.
So I like to believe in my forever optimistic heart that most people listening are thinking, yeah, of course, like why wouldn't we want to be more like this? And if they are, I hope, I'm going to ask you the one big question that we can start wrapping this up on. What would you say to the people who are saying, but Dr. Teri, this all makes sense, but what can little old me do?
Read my book. Here's the deal, right? It's a user's guide to a whole new mind. The world is not supporting you in your personal transformation towards a place where you can do something about it, be it big or small. Therefore, go and have the journey, learn what you need to learn, and, contact me if you need to and all that stuff. I probably will be doing Q&A sessions for whoever's reading stuff so that I can answer questions about the different chapters to people who are actually reading it and support them, because I can only coach so many people individually, right? So this is like a group coaching around the process of learning the book. So, go on the journey of personal development, flip your switch, get a whole new mind, because guess what happens? When you do the work internally, the external starts to follow with you. You stop hitting hurdles and walls, because what you think about comes about. And it's systematic with all my clients. Synchronicity will kick in. You'll get support. You'll start to know what you can do, because only you can know what you can do, right? I can't know for you what you can do. I don't understand your calling. I don't understand what will bring you fulfillment. I don't understand what are your strengths and weaknesses and your skill set, but you do, and you can better. But you have to get some of the, like you said earlier, Matt, garbage in, garbage out. We have to clear the runway. We have to clear the playing field from all of the garbage that is put into us, whether we like it or not. We have to be at choice. And then once we clear the path, then we decide how we're going to curate our life. We're not going to create it from scratch. It's already here. So we curate our life from whatever we have available to us. And for some people, it might be seemingly small because but I mean, I'm not Tony Robbins, I don't have that many followers or whatever, but I'm creating a ripple effect in the right way, in the direction that I believe the world should go. And you can do the same.
And what you just said about the reason for writing your book just proves that you're not just saying this, because when you say I can only coach so many people, the book is your way of giving back to try to impart that change, which is generally the only type of client I work with. If you want to make $1 million selling your book and killing trees, probably not my client. But if you want to use your book, the tree's going to die because you're looking to help other people enrich their lives and change things ultimately for the good. That's the best reason, in my opinion, to share knowledge and what we've learned along our journey.
Right. It's about how do you participate in a movement towards a better humanity? And a lot of times to figure that out is pretty easy. What gets your goat? What do you feel strongly about? What are you willing to do? And that's part of this journey, is like how to fortify yourself, how to get clarity and fortify yourself on who you want to be, how you want to live out your days, what kind of a business you want to participate in or not, as a consumer or as a business person, at any level of the business. It's not just for CEOs. This is for any human being with a brain and a heart.
I love that you just specified consumers too, because my question earlier, what can I do? If enough people stopped buying into the consumerism, eventually the companies would have to change and adapt.
Right. And a lot of the consumerism is basically us just not understanding as individuals, families, or groups that we're being manipulated by a social construct that is not in our best interest. It's not there to serve us. It's there to, like, I like to joke. A lot of people say, let me help you. No, they don't want to help you. They want to help themselves to you, to your budget, to whatever your, whatever is your income. They want your money, or they want your energy, or they want something from you. But very few people actually are going to help you. I'm saying spend $20 and help yourself. Or you can even get it if you have credits. You can get the ebook with credits for free on Amazon. I mean, hello.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, other than your unwillingness or fear. And whichever it is, either one can be overcome. And the best way to do that is to take a step by reading a book, like Flip Your Switch. It may not do it all for you, but it's gonna start on that path to picking up another book and picking up another book and picking up another book.
And it won't do everything, but what it will do is, if you follow it, because it's meant to be about 52 weeks worth, 52 chapters, one a week. And what it will do is shift your mindset, and it will lead you to new experiences, not just books. Because every single person I coach has synchronicity kick in. Once you become in charge of your mental, emotional landscape, and you curate who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world responds. It's obvious. It's cause and effect. You're the cause, and the effect comes back at you.
Dr. Teri, this has been an amazing conversation. Tell everyone listening, watching, where they can. I know your book's on Amazon, but if they want more, if they want to participate in these Q&A sessions, if they want to work with you personally, what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
So if you want to work with me personally, you can go to my website. That's White Lily Coaching. That's whitelilycoaching.com. And then if you want to participate in courses or like group sessions around the book, they're not up yet, but you can get on the mailing list at loveconscioushuman.com. Loveconscioushuman.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Teri Baydar, LinkedIn, and that's Baydar, Baydar. I'm on Instagram a little bit, Dr. Teri Baydar 1 on Instagram. Those are my two main. I mean, I'm on other platforms, but I'm not very active because I do a lot of podcasts now, and I will be starting my own podcast as well.
Fantastic. With everything you've got going on, we appreciate you making the time to come on today, speak to our audience about what it is that you're doing in the world, the book, and really beyond the book, just your entire mission. Everyone listening at home, we appreciate you being on the show, listening, supporting our guests. Head over to Dr. Teri's website, follow her on social media, keep an eye out for the upcoming Q&A sessions. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at the show, and we will point you in the right direction as well. So once again, Dr. Teri, thank you so much for being here today, and I can't wait for our next conversation.